Okay, this is gonna be a shorter wrestling reaction video, pay-per-view reaction video, whatever, than usual because I don't have that much time. I gotta leave in a little bit, so I figured I'd just shoot a small video here. I want to talk about this for a lot longer, but I don't have the time, so sorry. Um, Wrestling fans need to keep their expectations in check. It's one thing to want something. It's one thing to aspire, or to trying to find the words, to desire an outcome. Okay, it's one thing to do that, and it's one thing to kind of expect it, which is what I think fans really wanted in the Royal Rumble. I think they wanted Daniel Bryan to win it. I think they wanted Dolph Ziggler to win it. I think they wanted in my case, I wanted Rusev to win it because Rusev versus Lesnar, who wouldn't want to fucking see that? That'd be fucking the most hard-hitting match ever. More, as much or more, even more hard-hitting than the title match that we saw before the Rumble, which I'm gonna get to. And so on and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? But you gotta understand that Brock Lesnar kept the title and retained it before the Rumble match. Who do you fucking think WWE wanted to line him up against at the Royal Rumble, after the Royal Rumble? Can anyone honestly and realistically believe that someone like Daniel Bryan or Dolph Ziggler could do that? Like, no, you'd have to suspend your disbelief so far to where you wouldn't even think it would be real. And that's booking 101 in wrestling, is making it seem real even though it really isn't. Duh. And a lot of fans, and I really do believe the Philadelphia fans, when they get biased towards somebody, they really don't like anyone except that one person or organization or whatever else you want to call it. My gut. So there were, like, not realistically, okay, but just like we'll say, for lack of a better word, existentially, I don't know. I picked like 5 people to win the Royal Rumble, to kind of win it, maybe. You know what I mean? If depending on who the champion was at WrestleMania. This is why Royal Rumble 1992 is my favorite out of all of them, because it was for the title. Like, that's how it always should have been. And then you make your plans from there. Like, I really don't like how it's set up for WrestleMania. I didn't like it back then. I don't like it now because it limits a booker, it limits a writer. You know what I mean? So there were 5 guys. There were Bray Wyatt, Rusev, um, Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler, and Roman Reigns. 5 guys. Roman Reigns, I kind of predicted, like, probably right after Survivor Series, that he was going to win the Royal Rumble. Reigns is WWE's second coming of John Cena. Everyone knows that. And the reason why he got booed so much, despite The Rock coming out and, like, kind of endorsing him, was because fans know this. It's because fans aren't stupid anymore, okay? They're stupid, but they're creatively stupid, okay? Like Raven says in the Forever Hardcore documentary about 10 years ago, is that the smart fans are the easiest ones to con, okay? And I'm going to get to that dynamic in a little bit as well. But everyone knows that Roman Reigns is going to be the guy, you know what I mean? That's just what's going to happen. So, of course he's going to win the Royal Rumble. Fans weren't booing Roman Reigns. They were booing one because their golden boy Daniel Bryan got eliminated after only maybe 7 minutes too. How sad is that? I mean, Bray Wyatt lasted like a good 35 minutes. That was awesome. Same with Rusev. I think he lasted also 35 minutes. He came in at number what, 14 or 15, and stayed until the end, and no one knew that he was eliminated either. He like got dumped out from the bottom rope and just kind of chilled until the end of the match, which was kind of cool. But I don't know. That's just one thing I really don't like in Royal Rumbles. I like the Royal Rumble. I like the idea of it, but I just don't like how it's executed most of the time. And that's why my expectations were really, really, really low for Royal Rumble because they have to be. If you don't have, if you have high expectations, then for the Royal Rumble, then you just don't know what you're. Then you don't know you don't know wrestling. You don't have you don't have a mind for it. You don't have the psychology for it. You don't have the mind, and you don't have the you don't think like a wrestler. You don't think like a booker. If you have these high expectations, you really shouldn't, and you're just expecting too much too. Sorry, this is my mic. You can say hi to him. Trying to put him somewhere where it's not shown. There we go. All right. So, like I said, fans weren't booing Roman Reigns. They were booing the predictability of him winning because everyone knew he was gonna fucking win a month in advance, just like Batista last year. In fact, exactly like Batista last year. That's why fans were booing him. They weren't booing him because he sucked or he did something that the fans didn't like. He was booing him because they got every result that they predicted. Predictability in wrestling is a cancer. Okay, I would have much rather seen Rusev win. Rusev can go against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, and Brock Lesnar's over anyways. Rusev was only over in Royal Rumble because he wasn't Roman Reigns, because he wasn't John Cena, because he wasn't expected to win. So he should have won it, and he could have lost to Lesnar at WrestleMania. Seth Rollins could have cashed in his Money in the Bank. Seth Rollins could have been a transitional champion for about a month or so, maybe even 3 weeks or 2 weeks, or he could have lost it on Raw the night after against Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, whoever WWE wants to have the title. You know what I mean? They could have done that. They could have had Daniel Bryan win it, and they could have had him lose to Lesnar, and then Rollins could have cashed in on Lesnar. Because Seth Rollins still has the Money in the Bank. Okay? And let me stop talking about the Rumble match itself, and let me go watch the championship match, the WWE title match. This pay-per-view, or WWE special event, or whatever the fuck they're calling it now, it only revolved around two things: the Royal Rumble match itself and the title match, the WWE title match. The other three matches of the Ascension versus fucking New Age Outlaws, duh, what do you think the Ascension's not going to go over? Of course they are, duh, you know what I mean? The Divas Clusterfuck, what is it, Divas Clusterfuck, um, Usos versus Miz and Mizdow, well, of course, like, those are easily predictable matches, or matches that no one cares about, which is what the Divas match was. That's why fans were booing this shit. I would be booing it too if I was there live. They didn't get their money's worth. They really did deserve refunds. Because those three matches were fucking shit. At the Ascension are guys my age, maybe a little bit older or whatever, going up against fucking 50-year-olds in Road Dogg Jesse James slash, what's his name? I forget, something Armstrong? I don't remember. I think, not Bob Armstrong, that's his dad. Whatever, you know what I mean, yeah. Something Armstrong and Billy Gunn. Of course they're gonna win. Duh. The Divas bullshit. Who cares? They're fucking divas. None of them have talent except Paige. And Natalia. And they're trying to carry fucking the Bella twins who haven't been able to grab their ass with both hands for like at least 5 years, for 7 years, since '09, '08. Why would any fan really be interested in that in the slightest? I wouldn't. I would not pay to go see this show. No. And then the fucking tag team match. Of course, Miz and Miz are gonna win it. Of course, they're gonna split up after this pay per view. We know this. Of course, the Usos are gonna win. And yeah, the Usos are great performers, but when a fucking when a result for a match is so predictable that you don't even need to watch the goddamn match, your guys are gonna phone the shit in. And the Usos phoned it in. They phoned in their performance last night. And for good reason. I would phone in my performance too. I'd be like, oh, I'm going to go over in 10 minutes? Good. Well, let me just, do, two cool moves instead of, the usual, 12. So those three matches, they sucked. I predicted all three of them except the Divas one because I don't care about the Divas. Yeah. Title match was fucking amazing. It was. Look, Brock Lesnar had a lot to answer for because he was, part-time, hadn't defended his title for, I don't know, I don't remember the last time he defended his title. Um, the fans were behind Seth Rollins. Fans hated John Cena because it's John Cena in Philadelphia, duh. You know what I mean? But all three of those guys just showed exactly how amazing they were as in-ring performers. And I'm a very big fan of four entities in WWE right now. Rusev, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and fucking Bray Wyatt. And Roman Reigns is like the distant fifth because, yes, he sucks on the mic, but he's a good performer in the ring. So if you line him up with a manager, someone like maybe The Rock, then you'll have not a total package, but you don't need to have a total package now. You can be limited on mic skills and have a manager because that's how things were back when I was growing up in the late '80s. Okay? Anyways, Matt, oh my god, that triple threat match was fantastic. And they didn't abuse the no DQ portion of it. I thought that Seth Rollins was well. At first Seth Rollins he gets Joey Mercury and Jamie Noble and sends him after Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar just beats the shit out of both of them. Just F5s them both and whatever, you're done. For a good maybe 12, 15, 20 minutes. And then it just went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that is what you want in a triple threat match. This was a really good, well booked triple threat match. This is how you book a goddamn triple threat match. It was as good as Bryan versus Orton versus Batista in WrestleMania 30. I would say it was actually a little bit better, okay? Because Brock Lesnar, he took a lot of fucking bumps in that match. Holy shit. There was one spot where, I think it was in the middle of the match, where Lesnar gets thrown onto the outside and he starts taking down one of the announce tables so he can F5 one of these guys through it and pin him. And I think Cena beats him up a little bit, and Lesnar's lying on the table, really hurt. And then Seth Rollins pulls a Shane McMahon, and he climbs to the top turnbuckle and does flying elbow right onto Brock Lesnar, and holy shit, the elevation that Rollins got. Seth Rollins is an amazing athlete. This match really showed the athleticism and the work and the very, very deep work rate of Seth Rollins. If you didn't like Seth Rollins before this match, you almost have to like him now. He's probably going to get cheered even though he's going to do bad guy things because of this match. So, That was amazing. It was a tackle that, like, Brock Lesnar got tackled through a security wall and busted the whole thing down, which was it's a classic spot, but it's awesome to see it either way. Um, and then Lesnar gets back in the ring, and this is before the elbow drop from Rollins, by the way. After the elbow drop from Rollins, like Lesnar like chilled for like a good 15 or so minutes before jumping back in the ring and pinning Rollins, I believe. So this is before all that. Lesnar takes like three FUs slash attitude adjustments slash fireman's carries from John Cena, which is always really cool to see. And then he takes a curb stomp from Rollins, and like Rollins pins him, and he doesn't, and he kicks out, and then Lesnar gets tackled through a security wall, and Lesnar took a lot of fucking hits in this match, and he kept on going. Like, this match really showed how good of a worker that Brock Lesnar used to be in 2003. Because this was, okay, and this is why I like the ruthless aggression era from 2002 to 2009, or at least that's where I argue that it ended. A lot of people say it ended when WWE went PG, but there was still elements of it. It was just there was just had no blood. You know what I mean? Because in 2003, like Brock Lesnar was putting these kinds of matches on random SmackDowns, on taped Tuesday night television that was put on TV on Thursday nights, and he was performing at this level a decade and some change ago. What the fuck, man? So if Brock Lesnar wants to do part time, he's earned it in my opinion. The Rock hasn't earned it because he took so long to come back. And then his matches were piss poor god awful because he was never a good performer in the first place. He was a good performer in 2000, in 2001, in 1999, but anyone could have been a good performer back then because everything was so over. You know what I mean? In fact, people were cheering Mark Henry for crying out loud. You know what I mean? Like that's what I don't like about the Attitude Era because it just oversaturated everything. The Ruthless Aggression era kind of where everything kind of returned to form. You know what I mean? And that's where you can see Brock Lesnar. If you have the WWE Network, by the way, I know the whole hashtag unsubscribe whatever. Oh my god, I'm not even gonna talk about that because that just proves how selfish the fans really are. And I'm a fan, but I'm not selfish. I'm a fan, but I know better. I'm a fan, but I'm not as emotionally invested in the outcomes of pay-per-views as I guess most other fans are. You know what I mean? So Lesnar really deserved to be a part-timer after this match. Because if he's going to put matches like this every time he shows up for a match, that's all I want out of him. That's all I want out of him. So medical staff is coming to help Lesnar because apparently what they're doing now, I guess they're writing this into the storyline is that uh, Rollins like cracked one of Lesnar's ribs, which no, guy's 300 fucking pounds. It, Rollins is like 220, soaking wet. Like no. Anyways, um, so they got medical staff helping him out, whatever, and Rollins and Cena have a back and forth kind of match. You know what I mean? Because those two have always been working well together. You know what I mean? I really like when they get together and have a good match. You know what I mean? Like if you wanted a replacement for CM Punk, it's fucking Seth Rollins right now. Everyone knows this. You know what I mean? Both on the mic and in ring. In fact, he's a little bit better. He's CM Punk from like Ring of Honor CM Punk. '04 to '06. You know what I mean? Like or '03 to '06. I don't remember when Punk was in Ring of Honor. I know he was in it for a number of years. I just don't remember how many exactly, but I knew it was, of course, obviously it was before his. WWE debut. But you know, like it was a really cool match. You know what I mean? And then they just kind of scuffle for a little bit, maybe 12, 15 minutes, whatever. Nothing crazy, you know, whatever. It was still friggin' way very, very fast paced, and you know, for being 37 years old, I think right now, Cena maybe pushing 40. For someone who's pushing 40, John Cena can still work a really good match, and he did against Seth Rollins. And by the end, the finish was like was Cena gives Rollins an FU. Rollins kicks out, or no, Rollins doesn't kick out, but Lesnar jumps into the ring to break up the count, and then he gives Cena an F5, and then Rollins grabs his Money in the Bank briefcase, and then he friggin' waffles fucking Lesnar like 3 times with this thing, and then he sets up Lesnar's head on top of the briefcase so he could curb stomp him through it. And right before the curb stomp, Lesnar gets up and F5s Seth Rollins and gets the victory. And the crowd goes ape shit. It's a really good match. Pity that it was the only good match on the card, because I don't really consider the Royal Rumble to be a match. The 3 matches before it sucked or weren't as good as they could have been. This is not a good pay-per-view. You need more than two good. You need more than one good match to have a good pay-per-view. I'm sorry. Like, yes, it was nice the Ascension got over on 2 old guys, and the Usos are always entertaining in the ring. They're always going to be good performers, but they weren't great performers like they usually are. Miz and Miz have a good dynamic, but it's getting old, and it's only been going on for a good maybe 3 months. All right, let me spend the last 10 or so minutes on the Rumble match itself. Like I said in the beginning of the video, my expectations for Royal Rumbles have never been high, and no one else's expectations for Royal Rumble should be high either. Okay? Like, if you really think that you're gonna get what you want out of a Royal Rumble match, then you are fucking delusional. For example, let's go back to 2011. Right? WWE, I really do believe this. WWE is using the Royal Rumble to troll fans. They are. And rightly so. Because why the fuck not? It worked really well last year. It accidentally worked pretty well. Well, no. Yeah, it worked well last year. Accidentally. I don't think WWE really was. I don't think they really saw the backlash of it until fans really started giving Batista a piece of their mind. You know what I mean? 2011, Alberto Del Rio wins it because who the hell is going to win it? You know what I mean? 2012, Sheamus wins it because who the fuck else? CM Punk was champion. If he wasn't champion, probably CM Punk would have won it that year, absolutely. Um, Daniel Bryan was already world champion, so no. You know what I mean? Like, Dolph Ziggler was still, like, trying to work matches at, over 9,000 miles an hour, which is just a really bad way of working. Cesaro was still developmental. The Shield guys were still developmental. You know what I mean? And those are like the accidental trolls of WWE. You know what I mean? In 11 and 12, people didn't care for Del Rio. They didn't care for Sheamus because there wasn't anyone else there. And then 13, Cena wins it again 5 years after his 2008 Rumble win. And that was predicted. I predicted that shit like a year out. Okay? And the only reason why fans didn't shit on that predictability was because of The Rock. And that's what I've come to expect from Royal Rumble ever since 2011 when Alberto Del Rio won it. It was to set up young guys to either get beaten by older guys or by guys who are on the way out, like Edge in WrestleMania 27, or to become champion once again, like Cena in 13, or to become a transitional champion like Sheamus in 2012. Last year was different. Last year, fans were so pissed off that Daniel Bryan wasn't even in the Rumble that they had to kind of weasel their way into making Daniel Bryan a number one contender for the title. And I guess they wove that. I would have just I would have just been like, okay, Daniel Bryan versus Batista at the Raw's Go Home show for before WrestleMania 30 for the number one contender spot. I don't understand why these Royal Rumble winners aren't forced to put up their number one contender spot against other guys, especially guys who may be more over. You know what I mean? Because then that gives WWE a really good chance to, you know, bounce back from a mistake. That just makes more sense to me. So this year is no different. Reigns is your Rumble winner. We all knew this was coming. You can't be that upset about it because, especially if you predicted it out. But I understand why fans are upset about it because, especially if they went to see it live, or if they don't have WWE Network and they bought the shit for fucking $50. Why would you want to spend $50 on this kind of shit is beyond me. Because for the last, we'll say, maybe 5 years, WWE pay-per-views have all been shit. Not worth your money at all. Not worth your money. Not in the fucking slightest. I like how Bray Wyatt lasted so long in the Rumble. I like how Rusev lasted long. I like how Bubba Ray Dudley returned. That was really cool, even if it was just for one night, or maybe he's going to do a part-time gig where he puts some guys over. That's cool. The Boogeyman coming out was pretty funny and was kind of cool too. Um, DDP, Diamond Dallas Page comes out, and he's pushing fucking 60, and he was working pretty well. Um, I thought it was legit. The thing is, though, WWE, I mean, I don't know, like the way the match was booked, they could have had certain guys last a lot longer. For example, this was Bubba Ray Dudley's very first Royal Rumble match ever, and he's like, okay, he's like 45. That makes sense, right? They could have given him a later number. They could have had him last until the end, until like maybe the final six or the final eight or the final four. And they could have had fans believing that, oh my god, this guy's a legit chance. Same with Daniel Bryan. Um, they did that with Rusev, but it was accidental. Bray Wyatt, I think, lasted until the final 10 or 20 minutes or so of the match. So that was kind of cool. But, alright. And I understand that, okay, I'm going to talk about two guys who I really thought that should have not been in the Rumble at all. These are two guys who I really thought should have retired maybe 2 years ago. 3 years ago would have been perfect for these guys. Kane and the Big Show. Why are these two guys still fucking wrestling? These are big guys in their fucking 40s. They don't deserve, they don't, I don't care about them anymore. I haven't cared about them for a decade. I really haven't. Maybe Kane. Certainly not Big Show. Why are you gonna have them eliminate all the young talent that came out in the last few entrants? Dolph Ziggler came in number 30, and the crowd went berserk over that. He gets eliminated in like 5 fucking minutes by the Big Show. Jumps over the top rope, and Show does his, you know, punch thing and completely blasts him, and then and then and then Big Show just overhead presses him out of the ring. Like, why? Why would you even? I mean, you could have totally have like Rusev do that, or Bray Wyatt, or even Bubba Ray. You know what I mean? You totally could have had that, but no. So I don't get that at all. Really don't. Someone please explain that to me. I can't figure that shit out. I understand they've been loyal to the company for, a good 15 years. Kane for at least 20. You know what I mean? That doesn't make it any better. It really doesn't. They shouldn't have been in this match. Anyways, I gotta go. So I hope you enjoyed this. Um, One last thing, with Reigns being endorsed by The Rock, it's funny because The Rock came out to save Roman Reigns from being eliminated, and the crowd chanted cheered for 3 seconds, and then they started booing both of them. I don't know how this is gonna work out. I understand Philadelphia fans are a different breed of fan altogether, but still, I don't know. It's pretty questionable what's gonna happen now. Hopefully I'm wrong about all this, and Reigns versus Lesnar is going to be a decent match, I guess. Would have rather seen Rusev versus Lesnar because here's a guy, Rusev, who has been in mid card hell for the last year, and it's getting very boring. And I'd like to see him go up against top talent and actually work for his victories instead of just beating the shit out of mid carders for 3 minutes and then going over. If there's any, if there's anyone who's the second coming of Brock Lesnar, it's Rusev. That's just my opinion, though. Anyways, I'm out of here. Gotta upload this, and then I got some other stuff to do. So I will catch you later. Peace.